everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and I wanted to do this a couple days ago, but, other things came up, so I didn't quite get to it, but I saved them and, wanted to put them together so you could see it. House panel subpoenas Flynn and Gates. Yep, guess what? They're going to be called in, and which House committee is it? Well, it's the House Intel, and that would be Adam Schiff. So yeah, Adam Schiff has subpoenaed these two and wants to find out information from them, evidently, and is intending on them coming in to talk to him. And he says here, as part of its investigation efforts by Russia and other foreign entities to influence the U.S. political process during and since the 2016 U.S. election, including any counterintelligence threats arising from links between U.S. persons and the Russian government and or foreign entities, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence has issued 2 subpoenas to individuals who were central to the Mueller report. Wow. As a writer, that's like one big, long, honking sentence. I do not recommend you start out your work with one big sentence like that. That takes up the whole paragraph. But anyway, so that's the deal. They're going to subpoena them, and he considers them central to the Mueller report. The committee subpoenaed Trump campaign deputy campaign manager Rick Gates and former White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn for documents and testimony. Both witnesses cooperated with the special counsel, which I think that's just kind of interesting because, was Rick Gates also helping like Mike Flynn did? Because we all know Flynn's plea deal had some things in it like, participating in covert law enforcement activities. So what was Rick Gates doing? That's kind of interesting. I wonder. I should look around to see if I can find his plea deal. Both witnesses cooperated with the special counsel and provided substantial information about matters central to the committee's investigation. So why do you need to talk to them, Schiff? I mean, he right there says that they cooperated and everything. But he thinks evidently that Mueller didn't do a good enough job or something. Chairman Adam Schiff stated, as part of our oversight work, the House Intelligence Committee is continuing to examine the deep counterintelligence concerns raised in Special Counsel Mueller's report, and that requires speaking directly with the fact witnesses. Yeah, fact witnesses like John Dean? I mean, he plain out stated he wasn't a fact witness, but yet they put him in there anyway, didn't they? Oh, these Democrats. Both Michael Flynn and Rick Gates were critical witnesses for Special Counsel Mueller's investigation, but so far have refused to cooperate fully with Congress because they pretty much said everything they needed to say to Mueller. And you've got that information. Why do you need to keep looking into it? That's simply unacceptable. The American people and the Congress deserve to hear directly from these 2 critical witnesses. We hope these witnesses come to recognize their cooperation as being with the United States, not merely the Department of Justice. Well, it's not with you, that's for sure, Schiff. Anyway, and then it talks about the letters. Well, let's go directly to the letters because, I like to see the context of everything, and I like to see the actual documents instead of seeing little summaries and snippets that they take out here and there, because you never know what they're taking out. Anyway, this was June 12th, so yeah, this was back on Wednesday that he sent this, and he sent it this is to Rick Gates, and says, Dear Mr. Gates, pursuant to its legislative and oversight authorities, the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the committee, is conducting an investigation into efforts by Russia and other foreign entities to influence the U.S. political process during and since the 2016 U.S. election, including any counterintelligence threats arising from links between U.S. persons and the Russian government and or other foreign entities, including any financial or other leverage foreign actors may possess over President Donald J. Trump, his family, his business interests, or his associates. Another big honking paragraph there. Oh, he needs to learn how to really write fiction well, because this is what a lot of this is, you understand. It's all fiction from here on out. But they're trying. They're really trying to do it. So he's, trying to make it sound like we have a right to do this. Basically, he just wants to redo the Mueller report. The Democrats didn't get what they wanted, so they all want to redo. And they're going to do their little redo thing until 2020. That's what they're planning on. I'm sure of it. Because you have declined to comply voluntarily with the committee's request for documents and testimony, the committee has no choice but to compel the production of the specified documents and your testimony through the attached subpoena. Now, it did not include the subpoena, by the way, but it did include, this letter that they put with it. So I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to see exactly what the subpoena said, but oh well. In light of your ongoing cooperation with the U.S. Department of Justice, see, ongoing cooperation. So Flynn has been totally cooperating with the U.S. Department of Justice, just not with Congress. And the fact that you have already testified publicly under oath concerning your own criminal conduct, yeah, they got to put that dig in there. We know that Flynn didn't do anything wrong. The accusations against him are bogus. The 302s came out, and the 302s proved that he was not lying. And so, then they manufactured another 302 6 months later. That should tell you the whole story right there. I mean, you don't do a 302, which is, the FBI summary of the interview, shortly after it happened, and then you turn around 6 months later and you write a different one that says something different. No. That's not the way it works. A 302 is written right after the interview so that all the details that came out during the interview are fresh in your mind. That's why you write them. But, okay, anyway. Going on, it is unfortunate that you are unwilling to cooperate with the committee. They probably figure, why do we need to? We've already told you everything you need to know. It's in the Mueller report. The Mueller report did the work for you. You don't need to keep doing this. So, well, that's what I would be saying. While the committee understands that your cooperation agreement with the Department of Justice only requires you to testify for the department, which I think is kind of a stroke of brilliance. Yeah, the plea deal didn't include them having to talk in front of Congress. Yeah, that was good. Smart people put those together. The committee is disappointed that you do not view your cooperation more broadly as an obligation to assist the United States of America and not merely the Department of Justice. So the Department of Justice is not the United States of America? I mean, don't they represent our justice system? So, yeah, it's so bogus when you read these things. As a result, as part of the committee's duly authorized investigation, the committee is serving the attached subpoena to compel your production of the documents and other materials listed in the subpoena schedule no later than June 26th. 2019. In addition, the subpoena requires that you appear before the committee to provide sworn testimony on July 10th, 2019. And please contact these guys if you have any questions, and thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. And yep, Adam B. Schiff, chairman, and of course he sends he puts the enclosure down here. I noticed that he didn't send a copy of this to Devin Nunes, who is the ranking member. Very interesting, because I thought when they were working on behalf of the committee that the chairman always had to send a copy of whatever correspondence he made, as chairman of that committee. I thought he always had to send a copy to the ranking member, but I could be wrong on that. But that's what I've noticed so far. Maybe it's an unwritten rule or something, or maybe it's just what they typically do. And so there's no actual rule against it. But anyway, so that's the one for Rick Gates. Now let's go to the one for Michael Flynn. And you probably do know by now that Michael Flynn has changed out his lawyers, because I think he's in a new phase. In my opinion, General Flynn has decided he is gonna fight this, and he is not going down. And he's not going down for this. He's going to fight it and have his name cleared. And it will end up that way. He will be cleared of the charges because the charges were trumped up. They were all bogus. And we know that now. And like I said, the 302 is coming out. There's also a document, I believe, that's from the the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, has some document that's supposed to clear Flynn. So I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure that they're the ones holding it and that it has not been entered in. And Sidney Powell asked for an extension, a 90-day extension, before Flynn is sentenced so that she can get more documents and review more things. Because I think there's a lot that needs to come out that has not come out. And I think the timing of it was specific. I'm a believer in the plan, and I'm pretty sure that the plan that is being unveiled as we're, going through all this, I'm pretty sure that this plan required Flynn to be in this position. And I think it's very possible that when Flynn goes through all this, and if he goes back to court, what if it brings out a lot of things that need to be entered into evidence? And I really think that's probably what's going to happen. He will be exonerated. And a lot of people are saying, we want Trump to pardon Flynn. I don't want him pardoned. I do not want Flynn pardoned. I want him exonerated. Because the guy's innocent. He didn't do anything. His record needs to be totally cleared. He doesn't need a pardon on there because a pardon indicates, yes, you were guilty. So, no, I don't want to see a pardon. I want to see him totally cleared of all this. Anyway, this is the one to Flynn. Dear Mr. Flynn, pursuant to its legislative and oversight, and this big long paragraph again. I'm not going to read it because it's the same paragraph, okay? As part of the committee's duly authorized investigation, the committee is serving the attached subpoena to compel your production of the documents and other materials listed in the subpoena schedule no later than June 26, 2019. In addition, the subpoena requires that you appear before the committee to provide sworn testimony on July 10th, 2019. So that part's the same too. The committee notes that on December 18, 2018, the United States District Judge overseeing your pending criminal prosecution in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia offered you the opportunity to adjourn sentencing until, quote, it's clear that you've done everything you possibly can for the United States of America. And that's why I think the sentencing has been put off, because he's doing an awful lot behind the scenes. And this had to be done. He's testifying about people. I think he's probably still doing some covert activities, and that could include, certain letter of the alphabet. And so I think that, he's been doing an awful lot of stuff. So he needed to have all that done before anything could start coming out. Now, my hope is that when all this starts coming out, that it comes out well in advance of 2020, because, I want these people to be taken care of before the election. I don't know if that's going to be the timetable. I'll be honest with you. Who knows? But that's my hope. Okay. So anyway, that's the transcript. They got it right there. In accepting the court's offer, your counsel represented to the court that you wished to, quote, eke out the last modicum of cooperation and thereby place yourself in the best position to argue to the court the greatest value of your cooperation. While the committee recognizes that your cooperation agreement with the U.S. Department of Justice only requires you to testify for the department, your cooperation with the committee's investigation nonetheless provides an opportunity to demonstrate to the court that you have met the, quote, high standard of cooperation that you represented to the court that you set for yourself. Adam, he's been doing a whole lot more than that. It would further underscore to your sentencing judge that, quote, you've done everything you possibly can for the United States of America, not just for the Department of Justice. Well, he's been doing an awful lot for the United States of America. And it's not for Congress, and it's not for Adam Schiff, and it's not for Jerry Nadler, and it's not for Elijah Cummings, and it's not for Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or any of these people. What he's been doing is for us, we the people. And I think when it all starts coming out, we're all going to see just what he's been doing. Because he knows where the bodies are buried, folks. He was the head of the DIA during Obama's administration. He got in trouble because he spoke out against the Iran deal. And Obama didn't like that because that was something Obama really wanted to see put through. So Obama's people started spreading lies about him, and they kind of forced him out. And so, yeah, I think that between him and Admiral Rogers, who then became the head of the NSA and the Cyber Command, yeah, those guys have an awful lot of intelligence between them. I don't know if you realize this, but those two are really good friends. In fact, Admiral Rogers spoke at Mike Flynn's retirement. There was a ceremony and everything. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. It's about an hour and a half long. Very interesting hearing him speak about Flynn. Those two are good friends. And I kind of think because of their high levels of military intelligence that, they were probably very good at planning things. And I'm kind of thinking they were instrumental in setting up the whole plan. So for Flynn to do this was something he decided he needed to take the brunt of things so that they could be doing the work that they needed to do. So I think everything's tying up, though, at this point, because having Flynn speak, and if he's going to testify July 10th, I am there, man. Well, I'm going to watch it. I will watch that thing live, that's for sure. But I don't think he's going to show. Okay, I don't think Rick Gates is going to show. I don't think any of them are, because there's no need to. And this is the thing that, they need to understand, all these Democrats, because they've already given their testimony. They gave testimony during the Mueller investigation. So they don't need to give any more testimony. And this is why, Trump is fighting it. I think all of Trump's people are going to be fighting him because there's absolutely no reason for them to go in. And especially people like Mike Flynn, he was national security advisor for a little bit. And I tend to think that he and Trump discussed an awful lot of things. And Flynn made sure that his protege, Ezra Cohen-Watnick, was in there in a very important position. So, yeah, there's more than just meets the eye. And I know I see a lot of people who get very frustrated. A lot of patriots are starting to say, well, we haven't seen any major arrests, and it's all talk. And I did the video on Henry Kerner, and, if he's been stopping things, I don't know. And that organization, it appears to me, is totally isolated. So they are accountable to nobody, that Office of Special Counsel. Our government is set up so we have checks and balances. Well, where's the checks on that? I don't know. And, from what I'm seeing, and thank you for those of you who gave me links and everything, I don't quite know how they can do things and not have somebody giving them oversight. Of course, there is a little bit of oversight because they can only present the reports to Trump, because that evidently is who they present their reports to. And then Trump has to make the decisions. And especially in the situation with Kellyanne Conway, Trump's not going to fire her. There's just no way. And from what I saw, with Cipolloni's letter, I agree with him. I think that they are blowing things way out of proportion, especially the stuff about her Twitter feed. Oh, that's just crazy. It's not official Twitter feed, and I just think that there's overstepping the First Amendment in big time in her situation. And they just don't like it because she's telling the truth. And we know that the liberals don't like telling the truth. But I shouldn't say liberals. I should say the swamp. Because I think this guy, this Henry guy, he probably is considered a Republican because he worked for Republicans. But I think he's swamp. And again, I've said this before many times, but the swamp is not just Democrats. There are Republicans in there too. There are many Republicans who are part of the swamp. There are many Republicans who have been coerced or forced into working with the swamp. And, somebody mentioned Chaffetz. Chaffetz's family was being threatened. And I think that's why he stepped down, because these guys that are really speaking out against the swamp are being attacked, and you don't even probably know what all's been going on, because of course the mainstream media is not going to tell you that Devin Nunes has to have a bodyguard when he goes to speak at places because he's under death threats all the time. And, there was somebody, I did a report one time where the Department of Justice indicated somebody broke into, I think it was Bob Goodlatte's house. I mean, these people are not safe. And they're trying to stand up as patriots, but the swamp has a lot of dirt on people. and they have ways of controlling people. And what would you do? If you're a family person, what would you do if your spouse or your children were being threatened? Is that worth standing up for political truth? I'd be hard-pressed to say yes. So that's what I've got for you on this one, and that's what's going to be happening with Flynn and Gates. Are they going to show up? Who knows? If they do, it's going to be July 10th, so it might be a day to keep on your calendar. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think by June 26th, we'll know one way or the other. So that's what I've got for you. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.